A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
Adolf Hitler had Jewish origins, claims Russian Minister Sergei Lavrov. Russia has denied accusations that Adolf Hitler had Jewish ancestry, but the Ukrainian leader has pointed to the fact that the German dictator had Jewish ancestry, claiming that such comments are false.
While the Ukrainian leader tries to play down Russian accusations that he was a Nazi, the Russian foreign minister claims that Hitler had Jewish origins. The comments have drawn international condemnation, but Lavrov's statement isn't necessarily correct.
Adolf Hitler had Jewish ancestry. In a memoir published in 1953, Otto Frank claimed that Hitler asked him to investigate rumors about his ancestry and he found evidence that his grandfather was Jewish.
This claim has gained much traction among conspiracy theorists but is not widely accepted by mainstream historians. Nevertheless, Lavrov's statement is a provocative one, and Israel's Foreign Minister Yair Lapid has denounced the remarks.
Russia has been widely condemned in the past few days for accusing a Jewish president of being a Nazi. Despite its rudimentary history, Israel has consistently accused Russia of being a Nazi state.
Moreover, Israel has accused Russia of pursuing aggressive policies in the Ukraine and is currently chastising it for this. Israel denounced Lavrov's comments and called for an apology from Russia.
Israel's foreign minister responded to Lavrov's remarks by saying that it is a historical error to believe Hitler was Jewish. It is clear that this claim is based on a conspiracy theory that has never been proven.
Furthermore, it's worth noting that Ukraine's president is Jewish, which has severely tarnished the credibility of Russia's claims. But that doesn't mean that a Jewish president is completely innocent.
The claims made by Lavrov are offensive and deeply anti-Semitic. He couldn't help himself from speaking about the deep-seated anti-Semitism of the Russian elite.
This is a clear sign that the Russian government and the Putin regime are openly hostile towards other countries and cultures. It's time for Russia to apologize for its racist attitude towards other nations, particularly those deemed inferior to the West.
His career as an artist was a failure. Growing up in Linz, Austria, Adolf Hitler aspired to become an artist.
His doting mother encouraged him in his artistic pursuits. However, his father, Alois, a stern civil servant, did not share his desire for an artistic career and often beat him.
In spite of this, his father did not discourage Hitler from pursuing his dreams of becoming an artist. Despite being a cruel dictator and an uncooperative student, Adolf Hitler showed a natural talent for drawing and painting.
His high school teachers recognized this talent. However, his father never acknowledged his talent.
Consequently, his work was rejected by many art critics and academic institutions. In the meantime, he began working on the streets of Munich and Vienna to support his family.
He also volunteered to serve in the German army. After graduating, Hitler decided to become an artist.
He traveled to Vienna, where he immersed himself in the artistic community. He studied other artists and their work, and created several paintings of his own.
When he decided to attend an art academy, he was rejected twice. His work, however, was still good enough to get a living as a worker.
His father eventually encouraged him to pursue his artistic career, but he never took his ambitions seriously. After moving to Munich in May 1913, Hitler sold his art at the city's beer gardens.
He had some loyal customers there, and his paintings were sold in a number of beer gardens. After the outbreak of World War I, Hitler voluntarily enlisted in the army.
But he found that his artistic career had become a disappointment. This made him more interested in politics.
Lavrov's comments are untrue. Sergei Lavrov has been under fire for his comments on Ukraine, saying he didn't want to see Ukraine surrender.
The comments have thrown Israel's relations with Russia into turmoil. The country has a large Russian community, and many in Israel have accused Israel of not taking a tougher stance with Vladimir Putin.
Lavrov's comments are not surprising, however. They reflect a common narrative among Kremlin supporters.
Zelensky's advisor said that Lavrov's comments show that Moscow has forgotten the lessons of World War II. Zelensky also called the comments anti-Semitic and further evidence that Russia is the legal successor of Nazi ideology.
Zelensky further suggested that Moscow was looking for arguments to justify mass murder of Ukrainians. Israeli Foreign Ministry also summoned Russian ambassador to demand clarification on the statement.
Moreover, Lavrov's comments also perpetuate the false myth that Hitler was a Jew. Russia's war narrative in Ukraine is centered on the ideology of Nazism.
President Putin has presented the conflict as a war against Nazis, despite the fact that Ukraine has a democratically elected government and a Jewish president whose relatives were murdered in the Holocaust. This narrative is a travesty that needs to be corrected.
Israel has also denounced Lavrov's remarks. It said his remarks are indefensible and called for an apology from Moscow.
Israel has not yet imposed sanctions against Russia and has been largely neutral since Russia invaded Ukraine. The two countries have maintained relative warm relations.
If you're wondering whether Lavrov's comments are true or not, take a look at the following. Israel condemns Russia for anti-Semitism.
Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov of Russia pushed a line when he said that Adolf Hitler had Jewish blood. In doing so, he accused Jews of murdering themselves and invoking the Holocaust.
Israel condemns these comments as the lowest form of anti-Semitism. Lavrov's remarks prompted Israel to summon the Russian ambassador and call for a clarification meeting with its Deputy Director General for Eurasian Affairs. In
1881, the Russian government blamed the assassination of Tsar Alexander II on the Jews. After the massacre, anti-Semites turned to clever propaganda to further fuel the hatred.
The Tsarist secret police created a document, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which claimed to reveal the plans of Jewish elders to subvert Christianity. It was translated into several languages and widely believed by the public.
The Israeli Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, summoned the Russian ambassador to condemn Lavrov's comments. He urged Putin to exercise restraint, saying that escalating violence was 1 hour after midnight.
Zelensky, meanwhile, called on Russia to respect the sovereignty of the Jewish state. The fact that Netanyahu had made a call to the Russian ambassador only reinforces Israel's calculated neutrality.
Lavrov's comments, meanwhile, were met with widespread criticism in Israel. In addition to his comments about anti-Semitism, Lavrov said that there are a lot of gaps in the family tree of Hitler, and the biggest anti-Semitic of all is Jews.
Although Lavrov has condemned the remarks on Twitter, Netanyahu has remained more measured in his criticism of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. His comments have drawn ire outside of Israel.
Foreign Minister Yair Lapid called Lavrov's remarks unforgivable and the lowest form of racism. Israel summoned Russia's ambassador and issued a formal admonition.
The comments were made during an interview with an Italian news outlet and came in response to a question about denazification. Israeli officials have condemned the comments as absurd and dangerous.
Ukraine's foreign minister accused Lavrov of inciting hatred against Israel. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said that the Russian foreign minister could not avoid exposing the deep-rooted anti-Semitism of Russia's ruling elite.
The statement portrayed Israel, the Jewish people, and the Ukrainian president as Nazis and was highly offensive to both Israel and its president. Lavrov's comments are also a stark reminder of the level of Russian hatred of other nations.
Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Germany. Netanyahu and Zelensky met in Russia earlier this year and spoke about a possible end to the conflict there.
Both sides have sought to reopen diplomatic ties and reduce tensions in the Middle East. Israel is not a member of the Five Eyes spying group that includes Britain, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
The Russian government has refused to take a clear stance against Israel and has denied that it is waging war against the Israelis. By refusing to take a position against Israel, the Israeli government will undermine the trust between Jerusalem and Kyiv.
Moreover, the government is doubling training for military veterans to make them more capable of fighting in the Middle East. It has also called for foreign volunteers to fight Russian troops in Ukraine.